Hello YouTube, it's Mad Max MTG, just back again with another War of the Spark spoiler video. I did a video earlier. If you haven't checked it out, check it out on my channel. But right now I'm going to cover the cards that I missed from the first spoiler video. There's just a few, so let's get right into it. The first one up, we got Auger Bolus. It's 1 and a blue for a 1/3 creature, and when it comes into play, look at the top 3 cards of your library. Reveal an instant or sorcery from among them, put it into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So for 2 blue, or for 1 colorless, 1 blue, you get a 1/3, which is a pretty good blocker, or a target for a burn spell. And you get to look for an instant or sorcery from the top 3 cards of your library and put that into your hand. That's pretty good. You know, I don't think this is good enough to see standard play, because we do have like Shimmer Possibilities, which is a good card, and it looks 4 deep. But maybe, maybe this is a card that sees play. It does have 2 relevant creature types, Merfolk and Wizard. Both do see standard play here and there. So maybe this does see play. I'm not too excited about this one, to be honest, but it looks interesting. If nothing else in limited, this could be okay. Next up, we got Arlen's Wolf. 2 colorless, 1 green for a 3/2. And Arlen's Wolf can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. So I think this only sees play in limited. 3 for a 3/2 is okay. 3 for a 3/2 that can't be blocked by creatures with 2 power or less is better. It's better early game than late game. If you get this out and they have a 4 power, 5 power, 6 power creature on the board, this is not going to do much of anything. But early game, when this is the biggest creature on the board, it can get through. You could enchant it, make it bigger to do more damage, so this is an okay card in limited. Not picking it first pick or anywhere close to first pick, but if you end up with it, it's probably okay. Excuse me, I'm still getting over a cold, so if I cough, that's what's going on. Next up, we have Arlen, Voice of the Pack. This is a card I'm most excited about, and I'll tell you why just in a second. If you read the description for this video or the video title, you already know why I'm excited. But if you didn't, you'll find out in a second. So it's 6, 4 colorless, 2 green for a 7 loyalty planeswalker. Already, the cost of the loyalty is okay, but it all comes down to the ability. Each creature you control that's a wolf or a werewolf enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter. And if you -2 Arlen, you can create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. So with 7 loyalty, you can do that 3 times over 3 turns. So for 6, you get to create 3 3/3 wolf creature tokens. That's not great, to be honest, and that's why this planeswalker is at uncommon, because that's not great. When you get up to 6, by the time you can cast this, when you get up to 6 mana, you need a spell that's going to end the game. Arlen, Voice of the Pack, is not going to end the game. As a matter of fact, it's probably just going to keep you alive maybe a turn or 2 longer by putting a blocker on the field. But 6 is a lot to ask, and I'm not excited about this planeswalker in general because I think it's pretty weak. And that's what you get with an uncommon planeswalker, which I think Wizards had to do, because if you put 30-some planeswalkers in a set, some of them have to be weak. Otherwise, it's just going to be too much power in that one set. So I'm glad they made some of these weak, and quite honestly, they made some of these we've seen so far, I think, unplayable. I think this is one of them. The only caveat to that is if somehow wolf or werewolf tribal becomes a thing, and we just don't have the cards to make that happen. We saw this wolf. This wolf's not great. There's 2 other wolves in standard. Neither of them are good at all. The only thing I'm excited about for this card is if a werewolf enters the battlefield. I love werewolves in Shadows of Innistrad and Eldritch Moon. I hope werewolves come back. I'm iffy on if they will. I think that's more of a line for a commander, but I would love to see werewolves come back. And even if they do, this card is probably not going to be the card to play. But this gives me hope that werewolves are going to come back, and that's the only reason I really like this card. Let's move on to the next one. Jace, Welder of Mysteries. 1 colorless, 3 blue. And we got a lot going on here, so let's get into it. if you would draw a card while your library has no cards in it, you win the game instead. That's a static ability. That's going to happen without paying anything. And that ability alone is interesting because there's a couple things you could do. You could mill yourself with like Psychic Corrosion, and that's your win condition. Or you could just play a straight control deck, right? You just play a straight control deck. You shut down everything the opponent does, and then you run the game out. When you run your library out, you have this on the field, and you win the game. And we've already seen decks like that. You know, I play on Arena. I played against Teferi decks that just have the same strategy, but instead of that ability, Teferi just tucks himself back in the deck over and over and over, and then they win the game when you run out of cards. This is a similar type ability in that they can win the game just by drawing it out until you're out of cards, and they just win. So I think we'll see this in Control. Let's see what the next ability is. +1, target player puts the top 2 cards of their library into the graveyard, draw a card. So again, that works well with Psychic Corrosion. It works with Psychic Corrosion pointed at the other player, right? So you want to mill them out. You want them to mill their library with this ability, and you want to draw a card, making them mill more with Psychic Corrosion. So a couple different routes you could go with this card. The -8, draw 7 cards, then if your library has no cards in it, you win the game. Similar to the first ability, but I guess it gets you there faster because you're taking 7 cards off the top. So this is an interesting card. I think we will see this played. I'm really excited to play this with Psychic Corrosion and see how that plays out. So Jace, Welder, and Mysteries. I think this one looks pretty good. Let's move on to the next one. I think this is our last one, Paradise Druid. 1 and a green for a 2/1 green creature, Elf Druid at uncommon. Paradise Druid has hexproof as long as it's untapped. And to tap it, you can add 1 mana of any color. So a 2 casting cost green creature that you can tap for 1 mana of any color, that's going to be good. The only bad thing is it's easy to kill. You can kill it with Shock, you can kill it with Lightning Strike, you can kill it with any number of spells. The hexproof lets it live a little bit longer, but if you're playing against a red deck, the first time you tap this for mana, they're going to shock it in response, or they're going to shock it after it's tapped. You still get your mana, but then your elf's dead. So I don't know how good the hexproof thing is, to be honest. I mean, outside of a mana creature, maybe you can put some big enchantment on this thing and make it sometimes hexproof creature that you could make bigger with an enchantment. It could attack in, but every time it attacks, it's weak. I don't know. I don't know about this card. I mean, adding 1 mana of any color is good, so I'll have to see how this one plays out. I'm kind of iffy on this card, to be honest. And that's it for this. You know, like I said, if you haven't seen my other reaction video, take a look at that one. I cover all the cards released today except for these few cards. And if you like this video, leave me a like, comment, subscribe. If you think this video stinks, tell me why in the comments below. I'm just getting started on YouTube, so any feedback you have, especially if it's constructive feedback, I really do appreciate. And as always, thanks for watching. It's Mad Max MTG, and hopefully I'll see you in the arena.